The New York Rangers swept by the Canes, and is anyone really surprised? Hello everyone, my name is Norman, welcome to 81, and as you probably guessed by now, we'll be discussing the best of 5 series between the Rangers and the Canes, more specifically Game 3. So James Reimer starting goal for the Canes. It was a little surprising, but not a huge risk with the Canes leading 2-0 in the series. If you're going to do it, this is the time to do it. For the Rangers, however, it was Chesterkin in goal, meaning that Henrik Lundqvist's streak of 129 straight playoff starts has been broken, but I was more intrigued in seeing how the Rangers would respond to being 2-0 down in a series. So the Rangers started strongly. They dominated the first, created some solid chances, especially on Panarin's wrist at 30 seconds before time, but James Reimer stayed alert. This was more like the New York team that we've seen before the break, where they could score 3, 4, 5 goals and only concede 1 or 2. They were dominating with 14 shots to 6. They had more takeaways than Canes. They had many more hits with 15 to 5 in the first, and this was physical and quick hockey, which actually does suit New York. However, New York obviously did not capitalize on the chances that they created. So the big talking point obviously in this series was the penalties, giving away stupid penalties, conceding on the power play. This was a big improvement compared to game 1 and 2 for both teams. The first would end with both teams only giving away 1 penalty. And I was curious as to whether New York would actually weather the storm or they'd go flying in the second. The question was quickly answered. Chris Kreider flies past the Canes defense. He puts the puck in the net, and the Rangers lead for the first time in the series. I was curious to see how both teams would go up with the Rangers having the lead. The Rangers haven't had the lead in the series, so we haven't seen anything from them on that part. The Canes haven't been behind, but the Canes have an incredible offense. And I was curious to see if they would actually continue on the offense on the Rangers side and try to extend that lead or not. The Rangers actually continued this offense, and the Canes didn't seem to be really able to handle it. However, Teuvo Teravainen gets his first on the series, and the Rangers go back to square one. And at this point, you could clearly see some Rangers players already dropping their heads. The Rangers' dominance would fade. James Reimer would transform into a brick wall. He was incredible. He had a great game. When you actually have your backup goalie perform like that, not only does it put confidence in the D-men, in the forwards, it also creates healthy competition, which going into the playoffs, whomever they face, is a huge benefit to the entire Canes organization. So by the late second, James Reimer had already made 27 saves. Even Sami Vatanen also somehow kept the puck out with a half-diving chest save, and it just looked like the Canes were destined to sweep this series, which they actually did go on to do. So going into the third, the Rangers still had a chance at winning this game. They had a good shot. Carolina looked weaker than they did in games 1 and 2. Carolina definitely dictated the game though in the third, and somehow this game only saw 2 goals, but it could have easily been 6 or 7 on any team. Warren Fugler puts the Canes up 2-1 5 minutes into what actually seemed to be at that time the Rangers' last period in this year's playoffs. But the third promised to be exciting, and it was. So rather than actually dust themselves off, New York digs a deeper hole. Chris Kreider gets a penalty right after the goal. They don't give themselves any chances of going back into the game. And then Sebastian Aho, he glides gracefully past 2 players. He makes Tony DeAngelo take a knee, and he puts the puck in the net. An absolutely filthy goal. It was absolutely filthy. So Aho has done the job for 90%. He's pushed the Rangers into the tomb. The coffin just needs to be sealed, and with the net empty, Aho gets another goal. The series is over. The Canes sweep New York. So this series obviously was below par for the Rangers. It was horrible. I don't think anyone had a good series. Zibanejad and Panarin were practically invisible. Guys like Kaapo Kakko, you barely ever heard their name on the broadcast. Pavel Buchnevich didn't do anything. Tony DeAngelo, Lundqvist, Chesterkin, the guys that you actually expect to perform, did absolutely nothing. So that raises a few questions. What with Henrik Lundqvist now? What happens with guys like Kaapo Kakko, who are very young and have trade value? What with guys like Adam Fox, Tony DeAngelo? On the Canes side, it was a perfect series. Everyone looked strong, from their defense to their offense to both their goalies. And you have to remember, Dougie Hamilton did not participate. Qualifying so early in the series is a huge plus for them. They get some rest going into the playoffs. They get to prepare. They get to analyze different teams that they could potentially play. And I expect Carolina to be doing big things come the playoffs. So that was it for the review on Game 3 of the Rangers against the Canes. My name has been Norman, and thank you very much for watching.